Francis Suarez, welcome back to the program. I want to ask you about what is happening with the migrant crisis in this country. Is your city receiving enough support from both the state and the federal government?
Well, we haven't received any support as of yet from the federal government that we are aware of. We checked to see if we had gotten any help from FEMA. It turns out we have not. It is a migrant crisis in our city as well. Just in the last 2 months, the Coast Guard has processed 408 migrants on our coast. We've just last year in our public school system, we had over 14,000 new children, 10,000 of which came from, 4 countries of Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Haiti. And that's the equivalent of 5 new 2,000 student schools. I mean, that's a tremendous burden on our system. And I'm actually quite proud of Mayor Adams from New York for standing up and talking about how this is impacting the city of New York. I mean, he has to focus on crime reduction, and instead, you see images of police officers helping people in the classic Roosevelt Hotel find housing. And so, these officers should be, and you would want them to be focused on reducing crime, and instead have to deal with this migrant crisis, which, as you've said, should be a federal issue.
I want to ask you about what's happening at the state level, because Florida did just pass, and your governor, Ron DeSantis, signed into law a new policy as of February that will make it a felony to knowingly and willfully transport an undocumented person, even if it's a family member. I know the Miami-Dade Police Department said they are not planning on pulling over drivers. What are you going to instruct Miami Police Department to do?
Well, we don't get involved in federal issues like that. We pull over
state
people
law.
We pull over people for state for traffic infractions and things of that nature. We don't usually get involved in the federal immigration enforcement system. We never have as a city, and I don't believe that we plan to in the future. So that doesn't really apply to the city of Miami. It never has, and I think they're going to use, from what I understand, the Florida Highway Patrol, which is the state-controlled police department to enforce that law.
It's also going to require businesses to verify that employees can legally work in the U.S. It's going to require hospitals to include citizenship questions on intake forms. Is there going to be an impact on your city? There's concerns about labor shortages, for example.
Well, first of all, I think it is already legal to hire an undocumented worker in the United States of America. So I'm not sure if that changes much the current law or the current state of the law. In terms of how it impacts the city of Miami, we have a 1.8% unemployment rate, which is fantastic. When you want to open up a new business, definitely we need workers. And I think, this entire debate and discussion screams for a national solution. And I think that's what we should be focused on as a country, solving this problem in a way that, right-sizes legal immigration so that we can have Americans that want to work and that are working legally.
Am I hearing you say that some of these state laws are just theater? Because you're saying a lot of these things don't actually practically apply.
Yeah, I think some of them are headline grabbers, without a doubt.
Is that what your governor's doing intentionally?
I think you could argue that for sure. I think some of them are substantive. For example, he's sending 1,000 law enforcement officers to the border at the request of the governor of Texas. I think that's something that could have a positive impact in interdicting and helping, with people who are on the terrorist watch list, and they've catched, people who are smugglers and coyotes. So that can be help, and you have to be careful with that as well, because we are on the eve of hurricane season. So you have to make sure that the resources that are being used are resources that we can deploy here in the state of Florida if we need them as well.
Okay, I want to continue our conversation.